So, yep, doing a little playing around with the design tonight. So this is my slap together. Yeah, the white is freaking it out. Okay. So doing a quick put together, some very simple outline of the design. So these are grocery bags, and cut the tops and bottoms off so it's open from both sides. So you can open up all the way through here. And that would be one compartment. You'd put a zipper on either side. And then on the front here, you've got this one that's stitched to the front layer of this central loop. So this would be just like a loop of fabric roughly. Now, when I build it with the straps on the side to come out and wrap around my waist, that'll be different. But for getting this piece in here in the front, you would do the stitching along this area to stitch essentially another loop, because then you have this pocket here that goes, that's the lower back portion of that. And then in front of that, you have this angled piece that gives you another pocket that gets you this whole front area accessible from either side. And then potentially a pocket right here in the front. I'm debating whether or not I want to just put a couple of zippers here, and then the part that connects to the top to give you a second layer up top here might be a whole connect that on top. It would be a space, storage space about this size. So again, roughly this size, but with a version of this up top that opens like a top open flap. But it would connect in the middle here and up top here to give you a secondary one of these, but hanging down in the front of that, instead of like down here, we could have just one more smaller phone-sized pocket in the middle. But if we had it up here, instead of folding up and doing the reverse direction, what it would do is connect down through here, down to the front of this. So you have a pocket that ran here all the way up to maybe even all the way up to here at the front. And then that's the top seam of this, gives you the neck of the bag with a flap that opens up the top for a small compartment in there. And behind this whole front area is another one of these. And that whole section is modular, so it can connect here, here, and then the front pocket here and here to give you essentially 3 or 4 more pockets that you can attach to it in the long run. Now this is very square, and it's a little wider because what I was looking to do with the width on this was to roll this seam back and strengthen the edge just to get a feel for how I want to do that. I think in the end, the dimensions I'm aiming for this bag to have in the end are going to be more of a, not quite a rectangle like this, but more of a wider top and a slimmer bottom. So it's sort of not full rectangle, but a little bit more like that, with side wraparound pieces on the lower portion to bring the straps around for bringing up top and to the front. So that's sort of where I'm going with that right now. I'm debating whether or not I wanted to do a thin slit pocket in the back of this. The way I'm looking at it right now is if it's on my back like this, where this is facing outward, if I have it on my back and swing it around, like take, see if I can do this here. Okay, so if it's on my back and the straps are here, if I swing my arm out of this one, what I'll be doing is pulling it around this way as it's attached to my one remaining shoulder in there. And that gives me access on the sides to the big pocket. And the lower back pocket and a side pocket and an angular phone pocket on that side. Now, what I'm not sure until I do that, the shoulder is not a great angle to see this at, but if I do this way, this top half is far enough back that I can still access it, but it's going to be trickier to get things out of it. Hang on. See if we can get the camera to stop freaking out with the lighting. But all right, so as we look at this is going to be the side that when you pull it around, this whole area, this white section here, I chose separate colors to make it easier to distinguish. I wish I could have done that with this too, so you can see the difference in the form. But this part's going to be coming around, and this will be in front of me. It'll be on the front side of me that I can easily reach in and access. And because the bottom half, or I guess the right half of the big pocket in the back where I could keep my laptop is also accessible, so I can pull things out relatively easily. This portion is going to be harder to access that way. And now, one of the potential advantages of this design is when it's on my back, excuse me, when it's on my back, if I bring it around this way to access, it's hanging over my left shoulder. But if I'm wearing it on my back and I bring it around this way, it'll be on my right-hand side for me to access. But either way, this lower back portion, the original part of the design that I was focusing on, that's always accessible when it's brought around front to me first. That's the easy part to get a hold of. The hard part is going to be anything in this upper portion of it. And that's why, like with the back being accessible from the side, that this big back panel accessible from the side, you're going to be pulling mostly things out from the lower half. I don't know why you keep catching. All right, but anything that's in this secondary piece that we'll put on the front of this, that's going to be harder to access because it'll always be around your back slightly. It's sort of going to be like almost like a saddlebag on you when you're holding it sideways before you put it back on your back. It's not completely inaccessible, but I think if I were to do that, I would favor putting things in there that you don't access often and aren't going to be small fiddly bits, that they're going to be lots of them. Or something you're more likely to access when you get to a location, take the whole thing off and open it up from the top. So that's sort of what I'm thinking with that. That's a basic rough shape of the design I want to go for. It's way more rectangular on this format than I'm hoping to do. Let's see if I can pull up my image file of the backpack I'm playing with. So back. So go that. So what we're looking at, okay, yep, that's going to drag its tail, opening that up while I'm live streaming. So let's see. When looking at this design, this is that angled piece. I angled it in the other direction. But if this is angling this way and you do the same thing on the other side, you're going to angle upwards to a wider top. It's not going to be as steep an angle as that is necessarily. So like you look at this image here, I'm probably pointing you at the ceiling. It's a little hard to see what I'm doing and indicate at the same time. So aiming at this here, it's going to be very confusing. So right here, oh, for pity's sake, really? Oh, that's going to go weird. Yeah, thanks for that. I put my elbow on the keyboard. All right. So looking at that design here, I got to see what I'm doing here. Okay, can you see this design here? Where this is on the lower portion of the bag. The angle goes up at that point, and then from there doing more like a straight rectangle for the upper portion of the back. Now you're going to have this portion of the bag. Can you see it? You're going to have this portion be one of the side pegs. This side is an opening. So this is an opening. That's a phone opening. That's another opening. Now this is the one that leads to the front piece that may be zipped up the middle, like over here, that goes up to form the larger part of the bag. So, I mean, I think that design works relatively well. I think the way I cut it doesn't make a lot of sense right now. Because the thing that makes the most sense is this layout on the back on left and right sides, where this front zip here is the zip-in rectangle up the front that goes up to the further connecting it to the larger back. I think these might be a good way of illustrating it better. These are the color designs here. So this green and blue area is the whole space of the left side of this idea. And this whole thing across, I don't think that's helping any either, is it? But this front pouch, like this, that's going to be more like a vertical line here and cover both fronts of both sides and be what attaches the upper back along the back. This one here, I have it angled this way on the other one, but I like the angling it this way a little bit more. And this piece here being an opening on that side with the phone opening on that side. So I'm going to rework some of that. I'm going to stop pointing you at the screen because I don't know that that's helping make it understandable any better. But yeah, so I think that's a relatively easily designed out piece. I did it sort of a little bit backwards, but with the materials I was playing with, just trying to get a simple feel of what made the most easy to apply version of it. I mean, basically, I did get the layout of the fact that, I want this big pocket in the middle because that's about the size of my laptop. So from top to bottom, that runs about the size of my laptop. So I test fit it on there. This is a little wider than my laptop. So I may, do the seam allowance on the edge to reinforce the seam and run the zipper up that. And then do one on the other side. And then having this one have the whole thing sort of angle in at this point and have a zipper along the inside of this one. And then have this part be angled this way. And then have this one straight rectangle. I think that's the design aesthetic that works best for what I'm looking for. So it's going to be not a straight line, but it's going to angle a little bit like that, especially as it goes down at the bottom here to give you an edge here. And then you're going to have like a phone pocket here. And so like 2 phone pockets on either side. And I think that is a good design based off of what I can test run and play with that one. So I think that's really the way I'm going with that. Now I really just got to figure out the fabrics that I'm going to do. And I have a sense of where the stitching needs to be. So I know where I'll have to put the stitch. Honestly, I mean, basically looking at that design, I might go to the thrift store and just see if I can find a pillowcase. Just like, can I get 2 or 3 pillowcases for $1 or 2 or something? And then with those, just cut and stitch seams on those, because a pillowcase is about the size of what this is going to end up looking like. Because this is roughly a pillowcase in size. And if I cut the seams off of a pillowcase, I've got all the fabrics I need for it. And if I do 2 pillowcases, it gives me all the material to do that twice. So I can do the main pocket, and then the front pocket, and the top pocket, and the piece that goes down the front of it. All of that would fit pretty well out of 2 pillowcases. I don't know if the dollar store carries pillowcases. I would doubt it, but if they did, I would snag that. But like, I would bet you I could find pillowcases at like Goodwill for a few bucks, right? That would be a good trial run, I think. And if I can find, like, I don't know that it would even have to be all cotton. I was gonna say, like, if you can get a good quality cotton pillowcase, I can treat it with wax to waterproof the exterior a little bit. So it's a waxed cotton. And that would give it some sturdiness to it. There might even be like some of those like spray-on waterproofing materials that you could use. I don't know. I'd have to think about that. I mean, in the meantime, just having a regular cloth one to finish off the design of the product would be nice. And I could also still go get one of those dollar store shower curtains and weld the seams on that too. So I think that makes a lot of sense and works well with the design I'm working on. I may do a little tweaking. Yeah, Dollar Tree is pretty much what the dollar store around here is. There's like the Family Dollar and the Dollar Tree, and I do think Dollar Tree is buying the Family Dollar now. So yeah, I mean, it's just like that. For $1, if I can get a pillowcase or 2 and oh man, that would be interesting. I have never tried to heat weld vinyl shower curtain material to cotton fabric. But if I took a pillowcase, like a cotton fabric pillowcase, and cut most of the pockets out of it and put them together, stitched them together in the right way, and then did a fuse of the shower curtain into the fibers of the fabric of the the pillowcase, I could do a waterproofing that would reinforce and strengthen. Like the cotton would be stronger and stiffer, and the shower curtain, or the vinyl material would be stronger and reinforced. And so together they might actually work pretty well. Then I got to figure out the strap design for it, because I don't like, I think I've mentioned before that they dig into my shoulders in a way that's very uncomfortable. So I may redesign some of that. I don't know that I want to do like padded shoulder pieces, but maybe. And then, I mean, that's really everything there is for that. I mean, at this point, it's really just learning to use the sewing machine and stitching up the prototype. The testable, wearable, usable prototype that I will be able to use to carry my stuff around with me. But yeah, it should work relatively well. And I guess that leaves me with we're finishing product and service category tomorrow. I don't know that I'm going to have a lot more to add other than material trials. I might see if I can mock up a harness on which to attach a bag like that, so I can figure out the shoulder straps and everything. If I can do that for tomorrow, I'll give that a go. And then Sunday is starting a new category, which is, I believe that's cooking show, and I have to figure out what recipes I'm going to do for, like, a recipe a day for a week. Should probably clean up the kitchen too, huh? I don't know how I'm going to set that up. I may have to get my, yeah, I think I'll probably set up the TV dinner tray in front of the pantry closet there, because it looks over half of the counter. Ooh, that looks a little messy. I definitely need to clean that up before Sunday night. So clean up that area, and if I set up that TV tray, it should look over half the counter where I can do the presentation. I might even set up a tripod for the camera and have the laptop on the TV dinner tray just on the other side of the counter, so I can look over and see what the laptop sees. Use the webcam mounted to the tripod, because it does have a tripod mount on the bottom of this webcam. That's a really convoluted way to do that, I think, but it could work. And once that's underway, that should give me a view of the kitchen windows, kitchen sink, some kitchen counter. I think that's good enough. I don't need to get a shot of the oven. And I don't necessarily need a shot of the microwave if I'm using that. Everything else that I would potentially need, or the fridge, everything else I would need for doing that, I think, is roughly something I could hold up in front of the camera at that station, at that kitchen. You're going to see a mid-70s kitchen decor, though. It's got that, like, the sort of mint blue-green, like a pastel-y mint blue-green kitchen cupboard doors with plastic fake filigree knob backers and some simple small square knobs, I think. And then the rest of the coloring is this. The walls are this, with a faux marble Formica counter. And oh yeah, it is a thing. It'll be interesting to see how that looks on camera. So I will get thinking about how to do that for Actually, I don't think that's this coming week, is it? I'm taking this coming week off of projects and starting the next week with the cooking show. So I have a little time, because I mean, as much as I say I'm taking this next week off, what I'm doing is I'm not doing any new projects after tomorrow. I'll be finishing up the stories, the videos, the board game stuff, the card game. The board game actually is feeling like it's going to take a little more time, and it's something I really do want to play test with some people before I sign off on it. The card game is pretty much good to go. I just need decent art for it. And then finishing up the rough version of the backpack. And that would be everything I need to try to do at this point for content creation. I need to edit, or the live content creation. I need to edit the rest of the month's videos that need to go up. Need to do one for board game, each of the categories. I'm not going to list them all off right now. Now, there is a Instructables competition going on right now. And that one runs out on Monday night, I believe. So I've got about 3 days to do that. That's a trash to treasure. Still haven't figured out what I'm going to do for it, but I'll try to put something together. And then, yeah, I feel like that one slipped out underneath me before I was prepared to take care of that. But they always have new contests coming up. I should, do better at paying attention to that. They also have a jewelry one that's coming up on the 29th. They have a gardening one for May 27th, an Arduino one for May 27th, and a woodworking one for May 27th. I may do the woodworking one. Yeah, I think I'll probably do the woodworking. I'll do something for woodworking. I'm not sure yet what, but I'd like to do an entry at least once every month or so if they offer them. Just because, like, even if I don't win, I get into the practice of, trying to make something, and not just make it, but make a tutorial about how to make it on a regular basis. It's a pattern I need to kind of try to get myself into. So yeah, I gotta figure out, go back through my schedule and figure out what my timeline for the subsequent months are. I have pretty much charted everything out to be planned out all the way through August. And now it comes down to just doing it, editing it, and posting it. And I'll admit, some of that lately has been an issue of just feeling like, I've done a video, with the exception of 5 days when I was in Hawaii and one power outage since New Year's. I've posted a new video every day on this channel, and sometimes upwards of 3 videos a day on this channel. And I think I need to change a few things that I'm doing, because I don't think I'm reaching, like, I don't want to say it that way. I think my stuff is harder to find because I haven't figured out the best way to do tagging. and descriptions on some of the, like, I don't bother doing a description on most of these videos, so they don't get picked up by the algorithm matching anything as far as anybody else can see. So not a lot of people find this. They don't find them in the archives, and they don't find them when I'm doing them live. And what I need to try to do is make a document with all the tags that are pertinent to each of my categories, so that when I upload a video, it's able to target people who are interested in that topic easier. And when I do a live video like this, it makes it easier for people to find it when they're looking for a certain thing. And then, so each category would be like a book. So writing, video making, board game design, product design, food and cooking, and art and music, and video game design. And then some of the subcategories for each of those I need to do as a list of tags that it can use, and then a basic description of what each week is as a template, so that I can go in and say, this is round 3 of product design. Next time I do another product design. So like people can see, like, oh, they've created more. I can go check out some of the stuff they've made before. And I have to do one for health and well-being too. I feel like that one's probably going to get more attention than I'm ready for. Just like my experience with people in the fitness, diet, and self-help, I guess, categories, is that they're almost always looking for more information and more people talking about things, and they almost always have questions, comments, or a willingness to tell you you're not doing what they think you should be doing. I'm not sure I'm ready for that part yet. I mean, I've seen a lot of those kinds of videos out there where it's like you get these arguments in the comments about people, if you just go vegan, yada yada yada, and it's like I don't want to have to chaperone a whole comment section, but I would like people to have conversations about, does this work for you, and that kind of stuff. I think that would be a useful conversation to have. I'm not sure I'm ready. But I also feel like one of the things that comes to my attention is one of the people I stayed with when I went out to California, he's been approved to get a kidney transplant, and one of the other people who's out traveling across this country doing crazy projects stayed with him too, and he's helping him manage a fundraising page, which is cool. But the guy who's helping him manage his fundraising page has a YouTube channel where he's been uploading videos, and his videos are all handheld, shaky cam, 2-minute long. Here's a new joke this day that I found out about, like a Darth Vader joke. And it's like 1 minute and 28 seconds of a Darth Vader joke with a shaky cam. And those are his videos. And he has hundreds of times more views and tens of times more subscribers than I do. And okay, that's it's not a huge deal, but I feel like I'm offering more in my video than a cheesy Darth Vader joke. So either I'm doing it badly, nobody's interested in what I'm doing, or I'm failing to get the connections to the people who may be looking for and interested in what I do, but they haven't found me because I'm not doing what I need to do to be visible. And so if they're not interested, I can't do anything about that. If I'm doing what I'm doing badly, I can improve. And I have some of those plans, like we talked about the green screens and the still images on the screen to help. And so like I feel like I could do a little bit better with my video, but like I've seen channels with millions of subscribers and hundreds of thousands of viewers on every video where they are just using a webcam like this and they don't have any fancy schmancy schmutz around them. They do a little set preparation behind them sometimes with like home decor, but I mean, other than that, not a lot goes on behind that. And one of the channels that I subscribe to and enjoy interacting with fairly much, they just react to trailers. And I believe they sit on 2 folding chairs in front of a green screen. And the green screen they use to put up images of like theater seats, and that's their whole backdrop. Their lighting is a little bit better. I think I would say their audio is probably, well, now their audio is probably on par with what I've got, thank you. But so I mean, like, there's nothing really saying that I can't achieve some success with what I'm doing if what I'm offering is of interest and I, clean up my work a little bit on what I do. So that suggests to me that one of the biggest factors over the last several years of doing this is that I don't put descriptions in well, and I don't tag or keyword my posts very well, and I need to change how I do my titles. I've been playing around with my like edited videos where like I know that if you put the words top 10 something, it's gonna get picked up faster. I do 6 writing prompts. The word prompt is never searched, almost never searched, I should say. There are a few times I've done some searches for prompts and found people who do that type of content. But I've always been a little hesitant to call what I do a review, but it is sort of what I'm doing. That's half of what I do when I do one of my edited videos. And so I've been starting to rework it in my head to call them reviews. And I would say with the Captain Marvel movie, which is more time specific, where it's a recent movie that has a lot of people feeling one way or the other about it, within the first day, I got easily 3 times as many views on that video than I normally do. Now, that's only about 10 views at this point, or 7 to 10 views. But I mean, that's an increase for that one video. If I manage to be a little more conscious of calling what I do reviews, and like if I trim down the size of the videos I don't want to do them all at 35 minutes long. That was too much. That was really too much. But keep the size right, work out my script a little bit better. I may use my audio recorder to get better quality audio, because I don't think I can hook this mic up to my camera. I don't think that's possible. But I could set the webcam up on a tripod, put the mic in front of me, If I do the lighting right and the backdrop right, I don't have to use my camera to record them. And once I get them directly into the computer, I could probably do that pretty well. I may end up looking into doing that a little bit. So I may change up how I do my videos like that. But figuring out the keywords, I think, are going to be one of the bigger factors of making a difference. Sharing it on social media. And like, I'm almost positive that I've never shared one of my videos with friends or family. So I might want to look into doing that a little bit better. Just as a, like, if even, 1 out of 10 people that I send my video to in my friends and family list pass the video on to one of their friends, that's already going to do so much more about spreading and getting that into people's attention. And I think at that point, we could have more people in here talking about the projects they're working on, asking each other tips and advice, and sharing their enthusiasm for green screen techniques or laser cutting foam core or other weird fun projects that we're working on. And I think the growth of a community around our shared interests is really what I'm looking to drive. And the only way that's going to happen is if I can get found by people who are looking to join a community and participate in that kind of thing. And so I need to be better at doing that. And I think I'm going to call it before we hit an hour tonight. We're about 41 minutes in. Got a few things to work on tonight. I want to try to edit up the board game review, and then the product review maybe tomorrow, and then I got a taste test video for Sunday, and then music. And then, do you have any recommendations for music? I've got some albums that I can look into. That's not a huge issue. I was just kind of curious. Like, I kept thinking, like, I can go through a lot of my stuff and I'll have plenty of music to look at. But I also feel like, what are people interested in hearing thoughts on and ideas inspired by? Like, what really has caught people's attention lately? Because that'll be more fun. Like, I can go listen to the Temptations and come up with writing, music writing and story prompts based off of those. But like, if it's something that's like, I guess there's a musician called Little Dicky. He recently put a video out. His stuff is popping up all over YouTube right now, where it's like his video for Earth Day went up recently. So if I did I'm not sure I'm as comfortable with doing a react where I embed his video in my video. But I don't know. Like, I have to figure that out. I'll have to ask some people online about that. Maybe next month I'll work on that one. Yeah, music is one of those fun things where I can listen to pretty much any music, but when left to my own devices, the music I listen to is one that most people don't listen to. I listen to a lot of Irish folk music, and it's rather esoteric music for an interest. And one of my former housemates made a joke one day where he heard some of the tones of the music from my room. And he goes, "What are you listening to? Peruvian goat yodeling?" And It was just such a funny comment that I just sort of I realized that if left to my own devices, I will usually resort to stuff that doesn't have a big audience right now. And like a few years ago, Disturbed, the band Disturbed, put out a cover of Simon and Garfunkel's "The Sound of Silence," and that blew up. Everybody was, you got to watch this. You got to watch this. And I think that's more interesting to generate new ideas off of than songs that other people don't care about. Or maybe not don't care about, but aren't familiar with and aren't on their radar. So I think, trying to be more topical on some of the stuff I review, like the next movie I do is going to be in the first week of May, is going to be the Avengers Endgame, which I'm going to see on Monday. I hope I'm going to see on Monday. And then, I will still sometimes go back and review movies that I'm late to the party on. Big Hero 6 has been out for years on DVD, but I only just saw it coming back from Honolulu on the plane. So my review of that is a few years behind schedule, but that's fine. They don't all have to be topical, but every now and then I shouldn't be like delving into the back archives of some bookshelf in the middle of some rundown city, and I want to do a little bit more of like what's on people's current mind. Although a lot of people have been talking about Game of Thrones TV series. And my understanding of that TV series is it's a lot of incest, rape, murder, violence, and betrayal. There's not a lot there that appeals to me. I'll be frank, none of that appeals to me. So, like, I don't have a lot of motivation to look into seeing that TV series. I know everybody's waiting on tenterhooks for the next season to come out. I'm not sure I'm there for it. Now, they did Netflix did Umbrella Academy, and they did like a time loop TV series recently, and they are doing, I believe, Doom Patrol, and those are three things that I would happily look into. So I could do reviews of those, and I might just opt for that. And I think one of the things I probably might want to try to do is, like, right now I'm getting ready to go see Avengers Endgame. But I'm also going to see Shazam. But if I keep to my regular schedule, my review for Shazam won't go up until June. But I could do something like on my Twitter page. I can give my rating of it and recommend it as, if I like the movie, I can say, like, I'll rate this 4 out of 5 stars. You should definitely go check it out. For my more in-depth review, come back on June whatever and see my full video on it. That's probably what I should probably be doing. Yeah. need to get thinking about some of that and working on that. But all righty, I will see you tomorrow, I guess. Well, you said you had some hearing issues, right? So I imagine music is less enjoyable for you unless it's heavy bass, right? Because you lost top end of your audio. Yeah. So are you into rap and hip hop at all? What else? Oh, there's a musical group called Stomp. I think it was. I'm not sure if it was a Broadway musical performance or if it's like a regular musical performers, but it is all percussive, and they use like trash cans and their feet and broomsticks for different types of snapping, clapping, and thumping noises. And they do whole musical routines with pretty much just that. 60s and 70s. So disco. Motown, I'm sure. Well, Motown might be a little 80s rock. Okay, mainly so like a Hendrix, Janis Joplin kind of stuff. Because I have a couple of like the Aerosmith albums, Pink Floyd, and a few things like that. And I was pleasantly surprised. I don't know if I posted it or not. I did a review, and it may be stuck on one of my hard drives of David Bowie music. Like I listened to like the best of David Bowie, and I was completely caught off guard because I'm like, I don't know that I know enough of David Bowie to know whether or not I like any of his music. But when I listened to the best of David Bowie, the songs that were playing, I'm like, I know this song. I like this song. I just didn't know it was a Bowie song. So there are definitely some songs from like, I can't think of, everybody knows Another Brick in the Wall for Pink Floyd. But like, I can't think of, like, I know I'm familiar with some of the music of the time, but I don't know which ones I know. Like I actually, when I grew up, most of the music I listened to when I was younger was some Motown and some 80s rock. 80s and early 90s. As we got in towards like grunge. I'm not sure where my tastes lie now. I mean, I still favor Irish folk music for relaxing, but I do actually have a few. I have a music list as saved music files on my YouTube channel, and it's a pretty eclectic mix. But at the end of it, there's a small collection of electric EDC. Is it EDC? Yeah, something like that. Electric dance music. It's sort of like a techno or a little bit of dubstep. Lindsey Stirling is amazing. Let's just say that. Like there's no reason not to admit that Lindsey Stirling is amazing. But I will look into seeing what I could find more topically music wise. I'm not sure what some of that is. Like I may look at like Little Dicky's. Yeah, I might do that this month, honestly. So by the end of the month, I have to do a music one. And I may do a review of 1, 2, or 3 of his songs. I think I'll do that. That's a thought. Having to set up like theme music to do creative things to. Just sort of like a heroic theme song if you're going to do something challenging, or yeah, it's almost like it would be kind of fun to have like a soundtrack to your life that you can pop on a certain song for a certain mood to do a certain project to. I think if I were to do that, I would have to get the rights to certain songs first. So I'd have to find like a couple songs on some of those music rights, open rights sites that I could download a couple of them for my themes. Yeah, all right. So we're getting up towards an hour, and I should go. I had a few things to do tonight. I will see you tomorrow. I'm gonna